Order of the meeting, Parks and Rec, on Wednesday, May the 21st at 5:30. First matter is approval of the April 2025 minutes. They got any changes, suggestions? Whatever, if not, I'll listen for a motion to accept as presented.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second.
this is tough.
Tough crowd here, huh?
Favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, we're doing by executive order here, so shifting of things. There is no guest speakers. I don't know if y'all saw, there was potential for one, but that issue satisfied to his, I think his wanting. So anyway, Amy is first up under new business with feedback on the new MLK gym program.
Thank you. So we hope that all of you or most of you will be able to attend the ribbon cutting ceremony for the new MLK gym and commercial kitchen, May 29th,
Serving dinner
10 a.m.
in that kitchen.
Not at 10 a.m.
Nice. Take a brunch.
We probably should have some food in the kitchen. And so a few months ago, we distributed a survey to gauge people's feedback on programming they would like to see in the new gym and how they intend to use the new gym. We did this at MLK Fun Day, and as well as had it available digitally. And there were 300 surveys distributed and we had 132 respondents. And so I just wanted to quickly go over the results for y'all. This isn't a voting item. It's just to share with you and to see if you have any questions or insight into other things that you would like to see the gym used for, or how we might be able to reach people. I'll go into detail with that point in a second here. But the first question was the primary reason for the respondents use Robert Strange Park and the MLK Center. And I'll just go through the top three. 62% first was to enjoy outdoors or nature. Walking or biking for exercise was second, and playing sports was third. And then desired athletic programs for the new gym. This was really the whole reason being for the survey, but since we were surveying, we wanted to throw in some other questions as well. The number one interest was basketball. Number two was pickleball, and open gym time was third. And we can make this survey available to y'all if you would like to take it home with you and look at it further. Question number three was likelihood of utilizing the new gym, and 42% were very likely and 31% were somewhat likely. So we were thrilled to see that. And then third was neutral response, which was 14. Only 8% and 5% said they were somewhat or very unlikely to use the gym. So that is great news. Previous participation in MLK Center athletic programs. The highest response rate was youth athletics at 59%, followed by pickleball at 32%, and other competitive leagues at 28%. Question number 5, program awareness and communication methods. Participants primarily learn about MLK Center through friends or word of mouth, and that did not come as a surprise to us. We have received that feedback in other surveys and questionnaires that we've distributed throughout the years. Information distributed through schools was second at 46%. And this was interesting to me because we do a tremendous amount of communication through the schools, printing old school, printing off flyers here in this building and driving them to the schools to distribute to the principals and teachers. And I have wondered recently whether that is effective any longer, and obviously it is, so we'll keep doing it. And then thirdly was the center's website at 34%, which was also good news because and then very closely following that with social media, and we're always trying to increase the number of eyes that and the amount of engagement that we have on the website and through our social platforms. Among respondents who do not participate in MLK programs, the most common reason was lack of awareness. Second was the program did not offer activities of interest, and 28% cited inconvenient scheduling. So lack of awareness is something that we deal with always. This was a theme in our comp plan. And it's something that we're constantly talking about. And obviously there's no magic sauce or we would have fixed this problem by now. So something that we continually need to evaluate and revisit. And then lastly, additional athletic programs to offer or expand with the gym. When we asked people this question, the most popular sport choice was youth sports. 62% of the respondents, followed by fitness classes at 47% and adult sports at 41%. So key takeaways is still strong interest in sports, indoor sports and fitness options, obviously, especially pickleball and basketball, volleyball and youth programs, which again, didn't come as a surprise to us that MLK just has a history of that is their bread and butter. And then a small portion of residents that currently do not use the facilities. Again, we want to highlight an opportunity for increased outreach and engagement. So we wanted to provide that feedback to you all and see if you had any questions, and we're incredibly excited for the opportunity this gym is going to provide. In addition to everything that you saw in this survey, it will also allow us to expand the number of regional and statewide tournaments that we have. Statewide youth tournaments are still a very big thing in Parks and Recreation, particularly with youth basketball. We take several teams every year to the statewide championships and perform really well there. We've not been able to host very many of those over the years because until very recently, we only had one gym. And with this, we'll now have three, so that'll give us more opportunities.
Is all the construction done?
All the construction is done. They're working on punch list items. We received some pictures today. They just laid the sod outside and to do some patchwork where we ran utilities, but 99.5% done.
Good.
I have a question.
Anybody who's been in the existing gym at MLK, when they walk into the new gym, it's really different. The size alone is unfortunately not what makes the original gym sort of feel dungeon-like, but anyway, I think we had a question.
Yeah, I appreciate all the programming that goes on in there, but I live kind of, kind of close to the MLK. One thing we've noticed is like now that the youth that get there, does anybody like monitor how they get out of there? Because they walk around now in packs of like 15, they're middle schooler and high schoolers, and they're not kids in the area, but once they get let out, they're all together and they walk kind of in groups. Do they have to be signed out of their programming, or are they allowed to just leave like that?
They don't have to sign out. They do have to sign in. We have visitor identification software.
Yeah.
And so that we know who's in the building, which is an important safety component. And we also have cameras both inside and outside the facility. We just, with this project, increased coverage of that. So if there are incidents that happen with these kids, there's a high likelihood that we may be able to identify them. But we currently do not have a sign out program that would require additional staff resources.
Yeah, we've had a lot of bikes disappearing around here. A lot of kids' bikes in the neighborhoods have been going, and I actually had one on the side of the house, and they snagged that sucker. I mean, I put it out for the trash, which was fine, but they snagged that thing in 2 seconds. So
I'm sorry to hear that. As somebody who has had 3 bikes stolen in her lifetime, that sucks.
yeah.
But we appreciate the feedback. That always helps. We're always in communication with WPD when something is spiking out there and requesting that they do, additional patrols. So it's good to know. And we'll also share that with Centra staff and see if they have any insights or ideas.
But the building itself looks really good, and of course we appreciate the repaving of the pickleball there, so it looks really nice. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
What's the hours of its operation?
We have winter hours and summer hours. In the winter, we are open until 6 unless there's an activity going on, like basketball league. So often it is open later than 6, but the center itself is open until 6 and then in the summer until 7. And then on Saturdays, I think in the winter, it's 10 until 2 or 11 until 2. And then in summer, I think I'll look it up on the website so that I'm correct.
So what's the opening time?
10.
10? And I'm just asking that because for pickleball play, there's no restaurant at all in that facility. In fact, when the construction or containers leave, there goes the restaurant facilities at the pickleball courts. But there's nothing open. No, there is no restaurant facility there at all until 10.
No, outside, yeah. No, outside.
Anywhere.
Right.
That's what I say in between the cargo trailers right now. I don't want to start laughing. That's somebody takes a break, that's where they head, is between the cargo.
Just want to walk to the fitness center.
Yeah.
How is
The fitness center's open early.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're open.
It's 6, aren't they? They're open
Well,
early.
their hours vary day by day, so
Oh.
I'll pull that up.
How's sign-in handled for open gym?
How what?
How's sign-in handled? for-
Anybody who walks in is required to stop at the desk
Do
and
they produce picture ID or just sign in?
it's not, well, we're getting ready to transition to a new software. So it may be changing, but right now we request an ID, but if somebody doesn't have an ID, we do let them in.
With your new
So-
software, you'll have a picture of
It
them,
is.
so when they sign in, their picture will pop up, or?
I don't know the answer to that, but then I'll find out. Right now, no.
I'll just add on the event on the 29th next week for the ribbon cutting. So there'll be the ribbon cutting at 10 o'clock. And then Mary Jones, who's the center director, she is going to be hosting a reception from 11 to 2, where they've got some light refreshments inside the facility and we'll be leading tours so everybody can go in and like see all the improvements firsthand. So I just wanted to let you know about that, and if you'll share that with your networks, it'd be fun for people to see.
Thank you. So the fitness center is open 6 AM to 8 PM, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. 6 AM to 7 PM, Thursday and Friday, and 9 AM to noon on Saturday, so that you could go in there and use the
They
restroom.
don't have to pee between the cargo.
Well, if they do, we don't need to know.
I don't know what goes on between them. I just see people walk over there and walk back. So,
I'm sure it's not women.
yeah. Oh, let me tell you. I know it is. All right,
Thanks, y'all.
anyway, thank you. Amy, can I ask you one question? Totally, not totally. The situation of parking, the city with the school, remember,
Laney?
is it Laney?
At Olson Park?
I just keep seeing that as being a potential. It's either great or it.
Oh, it's
still
worked out
going? I
fantastic.
think last time you said it was working, it was relatively.
What's the update?
It's working. So we installed
Gates.
sign that says parking is for park users only, and we have a gate that we keep closed until around 8:10, something like that. But the sheriff's department has been very cooperative. They were out there the first few weeks that we did that. And so if they saw students parking there, they called the principal and principal made the student come and pick up their car. And then long-term, they're looking at adding parking and adding a connector road to Corporate Drive, which is the road off of North College that you get to Olson Park on. But they're working with the school system's working with NCDOT to add a connector road there to give a second access point out onto North College, because they have a real big problem with traffic congestion when school gets out.
Haven't had to tow any cars yet.
No.
Do they some still go in and park? I mean, after the gates are open to a few of them. I mean, it's obviously not a problem.
If it is, it hasn't been a problem. Yeah, our staff hasn't worried about us of any issues.
I just trying to navigate sharing and things.
All right. That it? All right. Next executive decision. Sally's going with staff updates.
Thank you very much. So I just had a few exciting updates I wanted to bring to the board. One is that this is the 100-year anniversary of Greenfield Park. So we are, have been approached by the, Rotary Club to, work on a concept for a, native garden in the Rotary Wheel. It's still in early stages, but I just want to let you know that that's coming up, for like fall, early winter. And of course, we would want the board to be involved. We're planning a celebration to honor the 100 years anniversary of the park. And so we'll be working on that over the next few months. We have been invited to city council at their agenda briefings for 2 meetings in June. One is to update city council on progress we've made on the urban forestry master plan. So that is our tree management roadmap. We've been requested to give them an update on that. So I wanted to let you know that's June 2nd at 8:30 in the morning. And then the other presentation is on the Riverwalk maintenance program that we've established and reporting process to track the amount of hours that we're spending on Riverwalk to make sure that that amenity is looking great and is safe for the public. So we'll be bringing that to a city council agenda briefing on the 16th of June at 8:30 as well. We've got a couple of other things, just exciting fun projects. One, we're calling the Rainbow Bridge. This is a collaboration with an Eagle Scout and a local nonprofit called the Big Paw Project. There's an existing bridge in Greenfield, a pedestrian bridge that's relatively small, and the inspiration is the Rainbow Bridge in Lake Lure that was washed away during Hurricane Helene that people would go and visit to honor their pets who had passed away. And so they would go there and just kind of have a moment of reflection and maybe put their collar on the bridge, to say goodbye to their pets. So they'll be working on that over the next couple of weeks, basically just painting the bridge in a rainbow and posting some signage. So it was really cool. I actually had those 2 groups come to us independently, the Scout and this nonprofit, both asking to do a rainbow bridge because they were inspired by the story. And I was like, do you guys want to work together? So they said, of course. And so they're doing that probably next week.
For those not familiar with the concept, it's supposed to signify your pet crossing a rainbow into their eternal life.
Their new farm.
Yeah, so this is the one, what the one at Lake Lure looked like. So this is Greenfield Park. This is like the main parking area. Pickleball is over here, and so the bridge is right down here. I could drop the little man in the right place. Sorry. But it's down here. There it is.
Oh, very good.
Okay, cool.
All right, and then the second thing I wanted to let you know about, and I had, this is a presentation we're gonna take to city council, but it's got some good images in it. I just thought it might help to illustrate the point. So we've been working with Dreams, the Center for Arts Education, on a mural for the Greenfield Grind Skate Park. We've had a lot of graffiti there and wanted to find an opportunity to work with the community to put some intentional artwork on the skate park. Amy brought the idea, which I thought was fantastic. And we found this really great collaboration with them. They have a grant, so they're able to do it for free. Let me just show you. I'm not gonna do this whole presentation kind of in the interest of time.
Also because we haven't looked at it.
And we haven't looked at it yet. I just wanted to show you a picture, the concept picture, which is not wanting to move over.
This we'll take to city
Yeah.
council on the 16th.
Yeah, so this is like hot off the presses, but I just wanted to show you an example. So these are the surfaces on the skate park that we're looking at covering. The kids in the program actually skate at this park, who will be doing the artwork. And it's inspired by the flora and fauna of the park. So just some really fun concept images here of what it's gonna look like, so.
I like the alligator.
All the,
That's cute.
I have fun.
like the turtles. Just don't so good.
Yeah, so, I'm sorry, Amy, but I just wanted to let them at least see it and know that it's a fun project we're working on. And make sure. We're also gonna be doing a mulch giveaway at the backside of Legion Park. So, I mean, Legion Stadium. We have a lot of wood chips that are generated for our forestry program. And so next Friday, the 30th, we're gonna be opening the gates to give it away. And as much mulch as you can hand load into the back of your truck or your trailer, the public's welcome to take to use in their gardens.
That's at the back of Legion Stadium.
It's at the back and we prepared communication on this. We've got a map. And so we'll make sure that you have that
If you
information.
go on the website, you'll see a map, but basically
Yeah.
you go on Carolina Beach Road, take Stadium Drive, take a right.
Okay.
There'll be signage out
I
there.
just want to tell other people I won't be here.
Yeah, we'll send out the link, but I think it is going up on the site tomorrow.
Yes.
And this is fairly common in other, among other public agencies, but we haven't done it before, but we hope for it to be a regular program. And was a recommendation in the forestry plan that we'll be
Mm.
updating on is, creative ways to get rid of waste.
Y'all have any questions on any of that? Anything else you've heard about? Okay.
Next,
Sir.
keep going. You're number 3.
Yeah.
Um,
One more thing.
one more thing.
So tomorrow we're having something called a demo day. This is Public Works Awareness Week. And so this idea was spearheaded by Dave Mays, who's the director of the Public Works Department. They oversee stormwater services, recycling and trash services, street surfacing, among other things. But obviously we have crews that do public works as well with our ground maintenance, right away and park maintenance and litter pickup. So we're a participant. So this is an event that's open to the public. It's happening here at Skyline in the parking lot tomorrow. Don't have the hours on me. I want to say it's from like 10 to 2.
That's right.
And there'll be, all the big equipment will be here and there'll be different demonstrations for the public. There'll be food trucks here for people to have lunch, but it was a way to raise awareness to the public about the services that city workers provide and hopefully a chance for people to come out and thank those, people who ride on that. So if you can swing by.
It'd be fun for kids.
Yeah.
All right. Keep going. You're number 3.
Okay, all right. So if you will recall, a couple of months ago, we did the coat of arms exercise where you answered some questions about what's inspired you to be on the board and something that you'd like to accomplish. So this is really the next step of our work plan. We're trying to get the priorities of the board identified that we can turn into action items over the next year or two to put in our annual work plan. So this is
Your
kind of
annual.
your annual work plan that we will help you to achieve. So for tonight, we're doing the challenges and opportunities activity. I suggest that you break into maybe 2 groups. And you're going to answer 2 questions. I've got it here if anybody needs it, but basically, what are the challenges? What challenges are the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board and the city facing relative to Parks and Recreation? And what are the opportunities for the board and the city that we can capitalize on? So if you can, I've got a giant sticky note paper here. That you can answer those 2 questions on, just brainstorm as many things as you want. And we'll do that for about 15 minutes or 20 minutes, and then we can report out back to the group. And for those of you online, you can either note stuff in the chat. You want to put it in the chat, or you can shoot me an email. Would be just fine. Does anybody have any questions? No, all right, choose your team.
Here's some mark of one. I'm sticking this on the wall, doesn't mean I'm not.
It's a start.
Yes.
Gotta get it. It was the,
Challenges and opportunities.
Yeah, it's really just these questions right here. What are
I'll
the,
be on your team since there's no one else last week. You're taking the initiative to go and get started.
Build in and use it. It's-
The giant Post-it note.
All right, challenges and opportunities. I got it, no. Here we go. I think the challenges is, the number one thing is getting, just like with the new gym, just getting awareness, increasing the public awareness of,
Technology.
what we have. What else? Money is always a challenge.
Let's see. The opportunities.
Fiscal strength.
I'm sorry, I missed it. Chart. Have a nice. Flexible.
It is flexible.
Yeah, you do it.
So.
Get rid of it. It's.
Not gonna do it.
Anybody write
challenges are,
Yeah.
kind of like,
It's,
I would not think about it. Yeah, but we ain't any further along than we were 2 years ago, but it's like the impetus to get it done or
Timelines.
timeline. Yeah,
it's working. Kinda.
I know.
Rolling out
Trying it.
programs.
You can do text maybe.
Give it a pickleball.
You don't have to.
He can.
So I was thinking of our opportunities, which might be jumping ahead
Go for it.
to utilize our current assets. Like our current parks and what we have already on the books.
I mean, it's kind of like that same thing, it's awareness.
To.
It's the opportunity.
Yeah.
That's,
Well, I mean, that's nice. That's nice.
Enhance the website,
Yeah.
enhance social media
Yeah,
website.
social media,
One that I had.
information.
And like she said, they really have worked in community engagement, but they struggle with. And I think that really goes on our side too. Is that something that we really
I
do
agree.
with our contacts in the community?
Oh.
is Reach out to them, make sure they understand
The
the
city council person on this,
programs that are available.
you know, sometimes they spread them out. Some people aren't one. I didn't know if there's ever been anybody on this particular, not anybody personally, just a general.
According to the charter and bylaws for the board, there was. And I don't think there are Or.
on any other boards that are useful as well.
I know, I say I know, it seems to me I've seen in the county that sometimes one of the commissioners is on.
Yeah.
I don't have a clue. I'm just curious if there was one, and it kind of enhances our ability to talk to council and council's ability to communicate to us.
Mhm.
Not that you're defense doing that, but it just,
Yeah, I mean, I take, so the Legion Stadium Commission is
Be expanded.
comprised of elected officials. I think of others, Tree Commission is not, Golf Course Advisory Board is not. The Planning Commission is,
right.
schedule of 14 commissioners.
So as a challenge,
I'd like to go first.
I'll jump in. I apologize for the poor penmanship. It's both the angle and my lack of skill. We'll start with the challenges because I want to end with the good news for us. And one of the things we looked at across the front was engagement in a crowded field and understanding there's a lot of competition for time and energy resources from our target community members and finding ways to stand out in that crowd. Survey results were a good thing, and 10% didn't engage for various reasons. That's an okay miss, or is it? And being able to figure that out, the information related to how we get information to our constituency from traditional brick and mortar flyers that feel so dated, is such an important part to our target school market because a lot of those kids don't have the digital access. We think they do, but they may not. And it's kind of a stigma that we have to fight. So really being able to figure out how can we get the information we want to the community we want in a way that is understandable, repeatable, and rememberable. I think that's one of those things we have to think about in that Parks and Recreation field. Our hours and access, while we think we got positive operating hours, doing counts to be able to determine that staying open till midnight sounds great, but if we're burning resources for two people, not that it's not important, it is to those two people. Is that the best use of our resources? Could it be shifted to open earlier than sometime? And I know that could be difficult at times for our software, staffing, lots of things in that whole difficult for us. Access, you know, the world's greatest thing, if you can't bike, run, or walk, or drive to get there, is it there? It's a parking lot for 5, space for 500. You may only have a few people in there. We've got dead space not being used, or dead space not being programmed. It's always an important piece on a larger scale for the funding to be able to support and do these things. We know great programs can be had, but you have to have the resources to get there. It's not always money. Sometimes it's energy, sometimes it's staff, sometimes it's space. There's a competition for resources while we have those 3 basketball courts now. If they're fully programmed for a basketball tournament, where are we playing volleyball? That's fine for a week, but convincing your constituency that that week will be over, y'all know it's super tough. So being able to figure out that best mix of how do we get the funding there? How do we get the staffing there? Can we expand different things? Looking at land acquisition to grow. You know, land is one of the most priceless commodities in New Hanover County. And the fight to use the available land for something that's viewed as, in my opinion, incorrectly, for Parks and Recreation usage is tough. Is that passive parks or active parks? Is it programmed or open play? So there's a lot of different things to look at land acquisition and best usage of things. It's the technology, both access to it from our constituents and the implementation of it. You can have the world's greatest map detailing your programs and services, but if no one knows how to use it, it's useless. And then determining what percentage of your group is going to access it that way versus going back to some of your other things, flyers and other mediums, ways to get things out. I think a robust volunteer program is great. It kind of somewhat helps solve our staffing problem. Yes, it creates other ones when you've got folks working with minors and seniors and different training and skill levels, but there's some unique opportunities we think to cover later to be able to help fill that out, kind of bridge that gap to where financial resources may not be there, but the experiential resources could be there for folks. We're not asking for free labor, but there's a great deal of opportunity and experiences to be gained there. Looking at awareness and education of what we have, that's awareness and education of programs to help grow our community's knowledge and understanding
Not on me.
I have one upstairs.
Yes.
of what we're doing on what type of those programs can we offer. Security concerns and myths. I think it's a big thing we've seen sometimes in the history of the sport.
We're sorry.
I can't run the meeting. I'll be right back.
No, it's okay. I just didn't want
No, you're fine.
but the security concerns and myths, you know, that's something else. It's dangerous at the parks at night. We see a lot of this in Greenfield Lake that there's a concern, but it may not necessarily be the truth. Once that rumor gets out there and it's not properly lit. Well, they've done a lot of clean out, they've done a lot of this, and that's not a knock on Greenfield, just using this example. Working on versus other parks perfectly lit. Safety is kind of an individual concern. If I don't feel safe, that doesn't mean it's not safe. And we often know those folks who say, well, I heard about, that doesn't mean it's true. And then sorting out the chaff, how do we get the messaging out that doesn't get lost? There's so much information being delivered, some good, some bad. How do we really get through that to make our message stick? For our groups. Opportunities, it's maximizing our assets and resources, figuring out you have a multi-surface court, but you don't have the right lines on it, you're not gonna have the right who's playing the sports on it. You want to go play in a blank parking lot. Well, you can play tennis there, you can play this there, you can play hopscotch. Not if you don't have what it takes to be able to get that. So finding out ways we can take our existing infrastructure, existing resources, and use those to maximum effort without belittling the point of what we're trying to get out of it. Continue community engagement in traditional and emerging ways. We know there's a lot of things that our community will turn out for. We have 300 folks roughly for a survey at MLK. That's great. What's an emerging way we can get that? And we did that through digital as well as paper, but trying to find that blend of things. As we know, we have some folks who, if it's not brick and mortar in front of them, they're not touching it. Other people will be like, want me to write it down? And we know they won't do anything with it there. So being able to create that, because it's an impossible mark to hit and what we're looking for. Creating somewhat of a friends of, and I know that there's a friends of the municipal golf course is probably the wrong term for it now, but what can we create? What can we do to create these types of things on a broader scale? Now, the problem is it's somewhat of a niche thing when you want to dump your money into it. Everyone says I support it until you have to open the checkbook and then, oh, well, I like it, but finding out ways to maximize revenue resources or increase revenue sources through those friends, finding those niche communities or those niche users that will put their money where their mouth is in addition to their time and being able to support what we're looking at. That could include commercial sponsorships. I know it can always be a bit of a spicy slope because you hate relying on soft money for things. And as we've seen, sometimes what's viewed as a positive commercial sponsorship suddenly changes when a news cycle hits. And then we didn't know, and our naming conventions have been a good example of this. Well, not exactly a sponsorship. It can be kind of dangerous when you put something up there or sponsored by, presented by. It can be hard, especially with a community with varied opinions. It's been kind of a bridge we've been trying to move over. UNCW and CFC involvement. How can we do those things to maximize the resources they have? Some great programs, both the CFCC world, the UNCW world, whether you're a Parks and Recreation student at UNCW, you can be a user, doesn't matter your degree, but finding ways to maximize those that are beneficial to all parties. Looking at what we can do, I think it's a great idea, and I didn't know how to phrase it, but we just said passive and active programming expansion. So there's nothing passive about shredding mulch and having people come pick it up, but little things like that, that's not a traditional recreation way, but my well-being may be working in my yard. You've now engaged with me as a city, you're providing me that opportunity and resource, zero cost, and keep to that. Just like I think we did rain there almost a couple of years ago. That's what a cool way to get people to buy into something that they may financially say, I'm not into that. Here's the $100 barrel free. Now you remove that impediment. So finding a neat way to be able to engage people differently that crosses different age groups and abilities, be a continued opportunity for us. And then a couple of things are things like the plant giveaways and then a bike tune-up. So we look to increase bike usage and awareness and safety. Our city, give them a free bike tune-up. Hey, your tire pressure is 20, it should be 40. Your chain is rusty, here's a little old. So what can we do for folks that from a resource doesn't take a ton, but you can kind of tie that in with our commercial sponsorships as well? What are some of those types of programs we can access?
Good work in such a tiny amount of time.
Yeah,
It was fast.
just do ours.
You obviously had the momentum there. I think we covered it really. Or abbreviated form, that's all.
Yeah, as you were talking, I was thinking, gosh, we need a youth influencer on this board. Some, a college or young adult more who's out there recreating every evening and knows what, and lives near a park and maybe rides their bike. I mean, and someone who's a user who's younger.
What are you saying?
Well, I'm saying, pickleball and pickleball.
As your lawyer, I advise you.
You can't say some of these things. But we're all volunteers and there's nobody from the Generation X on our board. There used to be, when I first started, a gal that was a grad student at UNCW who was, I forgot her name, but anyway, she would come to all the meetings and her input was interesting because it was different generation. I mean, she
Yeah.
wasn't into pickleball or basketball. She was, anyway, but so other challenges, you mentioned nicely the fiscal restraint. It just seems like we're kind of insulated from the political governing bodies, and maybe that's good. I mean, we're just arm's length distance to be able to make recommendations or something, but it seems like a real challenge. Maybe we can enhance our liaison with city council by having a dedicated city council member come to some of our meetings or be a guest. That'd be good. Yeah, so, and then the basic challenge is how to get people to know the parks, the parks that are out there and what's available in terms of programs. But I also think that we focus on the parks, the places. And, you know, as a biker, I would love, you know, better bike lanes, you know, we better than many cities, but if we would focus more on the pathway to the parks, as in bike lane, multipurpose lanes, I think that would be helpful. Ron, you helped produce this.
Between the two of you, I can't imagine what else is.
We'll take these and we'll review them. We'll make sure that we've captured everything. that was written.
I'm happy to take a picture of mine and retype it, so you don't have to try to interpret it.
That's
Yeah,
up to you. We can probably decipher it, but.
I believe in you. It's not an issue of your skills. I just didn't want you.
We can rewatch the meeting as well if we need to. So I just want to give Alexa an opportunity, if you have anything for opportunities or threats you'd like to add.
No, it sounds like they've covered pretty much everything. And, you know, honestly, I get a lot of the notices and notifications. So I think they do a pretty good job at getting the word out. I'm sure there's probably always, you know, room for improvement, but I personally say kudos because I get stuff from them all the time. So I think everybody else kind of covered everything.
Thanks, Alexa. Franklin?
Yeah, one thing I was thinking is I feel like we have a lot of really nice parks strategically placed around some of our school systems. And just for example, something like you know, like Alderman, you know, they have a park directly behind it, and just finding a way to tie in more with the local schools. And I don't know if it's just a day here and there where we could get all the students out, or and just working on some sort of project, some sort of awareness, but just getting the local schools that are located near a park, or, you know, have access to it, just getting those kids out there, making them more aware of it. I don't know if we do that or not, a day or two here and there, but just really kind of getting them immersed with the local parks near them. I think just could be a good opportunity for us, that. And then taking advantage of the riverfront that we have there. I feel like it, especially for kids, it doesn't get utilized nearly as much as it probably should. That, and then Greenfield Lake Amphitheater and then Live Oak Bank Park, we could do any types of free concerts for the youth, or just something to get kids out there, you know, utilizing those parks, I think would be a good idea.
Thank you. Awesome.
Demetrius?
Yes, I definitely agree with what he just said about getting the youth involved out there. And as far as getting emails, I do get emails from the Parks and Recreation, so that's going well. I have nothing else to add at the moment, though.
Thank you.
Thanks very
You're welcome.
much.
You're welcome.
Can I ask a question? It's Alexa.
Ma'am.
I was just wondering, for the amphitheater, do they have like you know, because I know there's like the youth choir and stuff. Would that be a facility they could use to have like their concerts and stuff?
Yeah,
The Wilmington Youth Choir.
Both amphitheaters are available for events outside of Live Nation concerts. For example, Greenfield Lake Amphitheater has the annual free Shakespeare Festival. every June. And then we're always interested in activating the space for different activities and opportunities. We have an active rental program, and then there's also sponsored events, so free events are available as well, so the answer is yes.
One thing that occurred to me, I went to the Alison Krauss concert and I've been to the Santana, these commercially produced concerts. Is it possible we could have a booth, your Parks and Rec Advisory Committee working for you and incentivize staffing of it by maybe, I don't know where the funds are coming from, but giving them a free ticket to the concert if they would man the booth for, a couple hours. And all be no new information, just disseminating that we're here. This is the process by which your parks, are maintained or new ones come on board, just information.
A tabling, that's what the kids call it today.
Yeah, yeah.
Got that down.
And tagging onto that, I had 3 more things on my list I didn't give you.
Good.
Talking about us as a board visiting more parks and either individually or as a group, just going out on our own and talking to people and visiting parks and finding out why people, obviously, if you're at a park, you have a reason to visit a park, but it seems like we have a lot of people that don't go to parks. So when we're not reaching those people, why aren't they coming to parks? Those are the people I think that are harder to understand why they're not participating in our activities. And then you and I talked about this in the hallway. I'd just like to bring it up to the group, and that is hosting some of these meetings in park facilities to get a better feel for the public as to why they like a park or what they like to see in a park that they don't see, hear more from the public. And I'm really interested in helping where I can, and maybe I think the board should also be interested in helping the department become accredited by NRPA. I think that's super important.
We're on the way, slowly but surely.
Would accreditation, what would be the benefit, I guess, is what of that? Just formalizing it's.
You've adopted best practices that are then justifiable to the public, and you're just more accountable that way as well.
Okay.
I think it helps put you, as far as a city, it gives you a lot of panache to be able to say that your city is in one of the top quartile of parks and recreation departments in the country. And it gives you some panache as a parks and recreation department, which young people, speaking of young people, want to move to cities that have good parks and recreation opportunities, including bike trails and pickleball courts, and other such things.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Will we be able to maybe go on the news station and advertise about the Parks and Recreation on there? I don't know if that would be a good idea, or just think about it. Maybe just go on the news stations to let people know. That may be another form of advertisement.
On the list, how can we use news outlets to raise awareness about Parks and Recreation?
Yes. All right, thank you.
Sure.
There's one, it's channel, I see it all the time, that it gives you a listing of all. Usually, I mean, the city council's meeting, the so-and-so's meetings, Monday, Tuesday, and that kind of thing. I know Parks and Rec is not on there. It's just, like I said, I don't know what service it is. It's just something I see all the time, but it's a whole weekly listing of things. And it's just, if it gave a notice that the Parks and Rec will attend this meeting on such and such a date, time, and place. It'd be interesting if we really had a overflow,
Do they still do PSAs, public service announcements?
That's kind of what this is, I think, whichever thing I'm looking at that's doing that. They're just setting out all the things that are meeting during the week. Monday is this, Tuesday is this, that kind of thing for this week.
Well, I think that's a lot of really great feedback. We can kind of close out this activity and looking forward to next month. You'll take some time to prioritize some of the top items that emerged that are priorities. So that'll be the main thing on the list for June. Really appreciate all the discussion. I'll hand it back over to you.
Looking forward to moving ahead here. Anybody, by Terry's watch, we got 3 minutes. Yeah, anybody round table right here, suggestions, thoughts, references, anybody want to talk that hadn't talked, that needs to talk? Not.
Why don't we do a podcast? Do something to get this social network. Because it seems like so many people don't know what all is available, and we have some nice parks that are, and I don't know if there's any magic solution. I'm just saying, if you're going to social network avenue, there seems to be that they love that. I have 3 sons in that age group I'm talking about. And they're just podcasts or, so.
Appreciate what the city did with Wade Park signage related to the alligator. It was in there, so it was good stuff, like seeing it kind of transition in. It's simple, it's effective, it's great. I mean, it's just a good notice to.
What does it say?
It's just a happy little alligator that basically says like, be mindful there's an alligator. I don't remember the exact verbiage, but it's very vibrant. It makes you stop and read it. It's not a warning sign that it's
I haven't
scary.
seen it.
'Cause you don't want to look, I don't think you want to look scary in parks. And I think it's welcoming, it's informational, it's not too wordy. I thought it did a really nice job conveying. In my time in that particular single park, you've seen a lot of people stop, and there's a lot of, when I say positive interest, they're not gator hunting out in there, but you feel an awareness of it that I thought was a really great move out there. So look forward.
Thank you.
Have to go look at that.
Anything else? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Oh, they're coming out now. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.